Hi, my name is Alan Simpson. This is a quick video on improving request schemas in Fast API and SQL model. I pulled it out of a course I have online, so there we've already created a main.py and a models.py, and it will use those things we already have. Hey, it's Alan. Welcome back. All right, we've been making great progress here. We've really done all our CRUD, but there's always room for improvement. And one place where there's definitely room for improvement is in our post and put input schemas. For example, when I go to post a category, this schema tells me to input an ID and a string, but it's a brand new category. It doesn't have an ID. So really this schema shouldn't be asking for an ID because there is no ID to pass in. And we have a similar thing with put. When we update a category, we pass the category ID there, but then we ask for it again down here in the schema. And that's not right. The schema really doesn't need the ID in it. So to fix this, we need to create a separate schema just for the puts and the updates separate from all the rest. And we do that by kind of splitting our existing schema in models.py into two or more schemas. Open models.py and you'll see the schema for the category class we have right now. We want to split it into two, so I'm just going to copy one and then I'll rename the first one to category base, but I'm going to take out table equal true, and we're not going to have it create a table. We'll just create a category base class with no SQL table, and it will contain the name because that's what people always are inputting and getting back is the name. And now the other category class, we'll leave that defined as category, and it will create a table, but it will also inherit from category base so that when you create the table, it includes the fields from that category base model. So here we have two different schemas, one for category base, one for category, but they combine to make one table that contains the name field and the ID field. So now we can use category base as the input schema for puts and posts, and the category class, which actually contains both fields for other operations. So let's see how that looks. You need to open main.py, find the route for posting new categories, and change the name of the class in the function definition from category to category base, just like that, except for it doesn't know what that means because I have to come up here and say from models import category, comma, and category base. Okay, so now back at our function, that should be just a normal name, no squiggly lines, and that one looks ready to go. So all we really did here was change the type to category base here in the function definition. And the end result of that is when we go into Fast API, it will show the schema for category base, which is just the name field without the ID. And we can use that schema for updates too, because updates already have the category ID coming in, so we can use the category base schema for the updated category function as well. So now the request schemas for put and post in our documentation shouldn't be asking for an ID field anymore. Let's find out. Go back into docs and let's see what we have. I'll try it out on get all categories, and I see I have two, HTML and CSS. So let me go look at my post route, and now you can see the input schema is just asking for the name, not the ID, so that's good. That's working. If I try it out, it doesn't ask for an ID, just a name. That's fine. We'll call the third category JavaScript and click execute. And the server response is 201 success, and indeed it put in a third category named JavaScript. Let me go get all categories and again and see what it says, and yep, there it is. So our post works. Now for our put, our update, let's say we want to, you see again down here, it's not asking for an ID. That's good because we put the ID here, so no sense putting it there. Let's change category 3 to Python. Click execute. Server response is looking good. We asked it to change category 3 to Python, and according to this, it did. So now if we go back to get all categories, execute that and see what's in the table, we get 3 of them, and the third one is Python, so everything's good. And just for good measure, let's test our delete function one more time, our delete route. I'll try it out for number 3. Click execute. Looks like that deleted, and if I go back to all categories and execute that, we're back to just having 2 categories, HTML and CSS, but that's fine for what we're working with right now. So to recap, we split our category model into 2, one called category base, which just contains the name, the other one contains the ID, but we combine them to create a single category table. Doing that allows us to use just category base for our post and put models, so they don't ask for an ID when the user's entering new data. And we don't want them asking for an ID because either there is no ID in the case of a post, or the ID is coming in anyway in the case of a put. All right? Now in the next lesson, I want to show you some alternative methods for doing server-side validation. All right, let's see you there.